Hi, this is R Orlofsky, and welcome to the Rabbi Orlofsky Show. Now, we're using a new microphone this week. That's the reason that my voice sounds different, not because I'm sick. I actually have a cold. Some people say I have a bad cold, but I don't know what a good cold is. As far as I'm concerned, a cold is relatively generic. So I have a cold. It's nothing serious. In fact, this morning I had my echocardiogram and my stress test, and I am as healthy as an average person, which is really all I could ask for in this world, because when it comes to my heart, I am a slightly below average person. So if I'm average, that's a cause of celebration. Anyway, we have a sponsor this week, and there's a little bit of a text here, so you're going to have to bear with me. This episode is sponsored by the Chicago Chesed Fund in honor of their third annual Shas for Shidduchim campaign. Right? Now, I know we've heard different kinds of interesting campaigns, toys for tots, cars for kids. Bet you never heard Shas for Shidduchim, huh? We all know singles who are caught up in the parsha. It is our responsibility to help. Yes, it is. And Shas for Shidduchim is a national initiative of the Chicago Chesed Fund, which gives singles, their friends, or family members a meaningful way to bring about Shidduchim. Listen to this. On Tu B'Shvat, which will be in 2 weeks, February 10th, hundreds of lomdim will complete Shas in 24 hours in the zechus that Klal Yisrael should find their Shidduchim. I mean, wow. 24 hours, finish Shas in 24 hours. We're not going to end up at MetLife Stadium. Trust me, that takes 7.5 years. Yeah. The power of Limud Torah and the auspicious day of Tu B'Shvat offers many zechusim for singles looking to find their perfect match, according to the Ben Ish Chai and others. I was at a wedding on Tu B'Shvat between a guy whose name was Ilan, who married a girl named Ilana. So help me. It's a true story. I see them from time to time. So whenever I think of Tu B'Shvat, I always think of that. So imagine that. By sponsoring a daf for $100 on behalf of a single, you can help harness the immense kedusha and power of Limud Torah and Tu B'Shvat in their zechus. Torah and Tu B'Shvat. Yeah? The Gemara in Brachos, those of you who are doing Daf Yomi, I have people, I just finished 1 week already with the second week of our Daf Yomi online. Yeah. So it says 3 things are going to be Yisurim: Eretz Yisrael, Torah, and Olam Haba. And all 3 of them are compared to trees. Gan Eden, Olam Haba. Eretz Yisrael is defined as the land of Eretz Chita Sa'ira Geffen Te'ina V'Rimon, Eretz Ve'izes Shem Dvash, referring to the different trees, and Torah is Eitz Chaim Hi, right? So they're all related to trees, and so it all ties into Tu B'Shvat. And so learning Torah and Tu B'Shvat, you get it? Anyway, and who knows, Ilan, there might be an Ilana out there for you, In this case, Trees Company. Anyway, by sponsoring, I'm going to have to read this again. By sponsoring that for $100 on behalf of a single, you can help harness the kedusha and power of Limud Torah and Tu B'Shvat in their zechus. All proceeds go directly to the Chicago Chesed Fund and their many programs and services that help combat the shidduch crisis and bring singles closer to their zivugim. Listen, if you know anybody who's in the parsha, you know anybody who needs help. And if not, if you're just a person who cares about Klal Yisrael, and if you don't know what I mean, go back to last week's podcast where I talk about having concern for other people to the point that some people really thought that I was starting to lose it. Anyway, this is an opportunity to learn more about Shas for Shidduchim and to sponsor a daf in zechus of a single. Visit the website shasforshidduchim.org. That's SHAS 4, the number 4. Shas for Shidduchim, SHIDDUCHIM.org. And what a beautiful opportunity. And we're so happy that they're sponsoring our podcast today. And in the zechus of this Torah, their program should be Matzliach. And through their program, all of Klal Yisrael should find their Shidduchim and find their zivugim. And then there'll be twice as many people watching the podcast. You and that special someone. Anyway, I have to tell you that I got a lot of reaction from last week's podcast. A lot of people speaking about the tuition crisis and the basic concern for Klal Yisrael, which was, I think, even more the underlying point I was trying to bring across. And I got a letter from a dear, dear friend. I'll mention his name just to give him a shout out. Shmuel Karp. He and his wife Tzipora are big fan, old friends. When I say old friends, I'm talking about 4 decades worth of friendship. And they are among the select few who came to Israel to have their picture taken in front of the bookcase. Yeah, because that is a very special opportunity, something that you can share with your children and grandchildren. But anyway, he wrote me and he said, I went to your podcast because I wanted to have a Dvar Torah to say over at the Shabbos table, and you were just, complaining about the tuition crisis. So I went to last year on Ve'era, and that was the one that was called, This is a Show, Not a Shear. What is there that Parshas Ve'era upsets you so much that you start screaming and yelling? Well, first of all, valid point. Second of all, I have a theory, and that is if you'll go to last year Parshas Bo, you'll see I spoke about the fact that Parshas Bo was my bar mitzvah parsha, which means that my birthday is coming up, Gimel Shvat, something nice. Anyway, but understated. Yes, that. But so it could be that since Parshas Ve'era, I was waiting to be born, a kid towards the end starts to get a little crazy, and he starts like banging, and writing on the wall and stuff, like tugging on the rope, get me out of here. To this day, I'm a little claustrophobic, but it could be the Parshas Ve'era, all those memories come back to me. Maybe, I'm not sure. Anyway, even though I have a whole list of topics now that people want me to talk about, social issues, yeah. I figure I should throw in a little Torah just for a change of pace. Talk about something, and you don't have to worry because obviously whatever I talk about at the end of the day has to be something that is going to be meaningful, and I say this all the time. Yeah, the bane of Jewish education is relevance. When I talk to people all around the world and I say, what was frustrating about your Jewish education? They say, it wasn't relevant to my life. It doesn't make sense. Everybody's had a kid who at some point says, Rebbe, or Abba, or Tati, or Dad, why do I need to learn this? Why am I learning this? I don't have an ox, and I'm not planning on buying one. Understand? I don't run through the street with pictures. If I marry a woman, it will be with a ring, not with a piece of silk of indeterminate value. And if I divorce her, it'll be in Beis Din. I won't throw the get from my roof into her courtyard where it catches on fire. Anyway, things that happen every day. But so, what am I learning this for? What am I learning for? It's and forgetting about what the answer is to all of those questions. The frustration that is being voiced is the search for relevance, for meaning. I used to teach at Discovery, and Discovery was based on a program by Arachim, and so they used to have at the end of Discovery what they called the symposium. It was based on the Hebrew program that used to end with what they called a symposia. And I guess we got the word from them. Anyway, so what they would do is they put everybody in a circle and they would go around and everybody could say one word that described their experience. I did this for years, And then afterwards you could go around and everybody could explain why they picked that word. But you had to sum it up in one word. So people would say interesting, nice. There would always be someone clever who would go discovering. So clever. Anyway, everyone was going around. Anyway, one week, we had this, I don't know if he was as a fact, but he certainly appeared to be, a biker. Big muscular guy with tattoos and shades. Somewhat frightening. And you're going around the circle. When it comes to him, what did you think of this? He goes, angry. I thought to myself, well, that's it, I'm dead. And when they come around, they ask everybody why they picked their word, and he says, I'm so angry that no one ever taught me what it meant to be a Jew, that I never found any relevance in it. You want to hear something amazing? Sure you do. I got a phone call from Avreich in Lakewood, 40 years old. He says, I've been learning my whole life. And until I heard your shiur on Why Be Jewish, which parenthetically is based on the first two lines of Mesilas Yesharim, for those of you who would like to join the online Mesilas Yesharim VOD, which just started this past week. I just gave the introduction to the introduction. Next week I'll be giving the introduction. Anyway, he says, until I heard your shiur on Why Be Jewish, I didn't know why I was doing what I was doing. And I'm sitting and learning in Koil for years. And I've heard this so many times, that people are searching for meaning. Searching for meaning. This is it should be relevant. It should be meaningful. So, I want to share with you an idea that I think is important. There's Eser Makos, right? Rashi says already in Pasha Shmos, very clearly, that all of them are just an introduction. That Makis Bacharos, when I do Makis Bacharos, then the Jews are going to go free. So really, he could have just said to Pharaoh, listen, let my people go. Or I will smite every firstborn. Because that's the story, is how God smote the Egyptians, and that's why it's called Sefer Smote, in case you were wondering. Anyway, but I'm going to smite every firstborn, and then he'll let us go. And that would have worked. So what was the idea of the Eser Makos? Yeah, and you see, this was so important to HaKadosh Baruch Hu that he was willing to engage in whatever it means, hardening Pharaoh's heart, to give him the ability to get through. So what was this all about? And the answer is there's a thrill. There's a thrill in life. It's an amazing thing. How far can you push it? Okay? There are people who cannot relate to this, and I have nothing but the greatest respect for you. When their fuel gauge shows there's a quarter of a tank left, they go quickly and they fill up. Other people wait till the little light pops up. Other people wait till it hits the E, because the little light pops up before it hits the E. Some people wait till it goes below the E. Now, they certainly don't want to run out of gas on the highway. They're just wondering, how far can I push this? There is that tendency of people to see, gee, how far is this going to go? How far are we going to take this? Yeah. So when they come to Makas Arba, the people say to Pharaoh, the country's going to be devastated. We don't really understand what Arba is all about. Somebody described it to me back in the 50s. Locusts landed in Israel. And they said, they land, and all you hear is chomping. Chomp, 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 chomp. If you've ever had a group of yeshiva guys over your house, you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, they get up, there's nothing left, not a tree, not a leaf, not anything. They eat everything. Everything. I said, why don't you swat it? They said there's a gazillion of them. Why don't you swat them? Swat. It's like unbelievable. So what do you do? What do you do? Yeah. And after that comes famine. It's all the food. So one of the Mepharshim explained that Pharaoh was in the grip of an obsession. He wasn't thinking anymore. In fact, the thing about Arba, about locust, is it says in Mishlei, Ein Melech, that Arba don't have a king. What does that mean? That means if you know how bees work, there's a queen bee and everybody works around the queen bee and, and everything. They all have very specific jobs. Arba, it's everybody out for themselves. I don't care about anybody else. I just want to eat as much as I possibly can. And then we'll fly off and find something else. And it just works to my advantage that I've got a gazillion other guys with me because, then I don't have to worry about them swatting me. There's just too many of us. So that obsession is where Pharaoh was. He wasn't a king anymore. He wasn't thinking about his people, and he wasn't thinking about his kingdom. He was in the grips of the obsession. How far is this going to go? I want to see where this is going to take us. I've lived in Israel for over 30 years. It never ceases to amaze me. It's just absolutely amazing. Yeah. when the police come and they say, "Chayvetz chashud," suspicious package, everybody runs over to see. Hey, you think it's a bomb? My personal opinion is that if you think there's danger, you should walk the other way. But, people want to see. We just had the Gemara in Brachos, and our Daf Yomi. I don't know if I mentioned that, but we have an online Daf Yomi that you can join. It said that if you go to the funeral, you're putter from Kriya Shema. If you're going for the mourner, well, why else would you go? For, as they say in Hebrew, ikshin. That's a Hebrew word. Yeah, that you want to see what's going on, There's a fascination. I have been stuck on the road so many times in what later turns out to be what they call a rubbernecking delay. It was an accident off to the side, and everybody has to slow down, take a look, and then keep going. I'm not that interested. I've seen accidents before. I've been in accidents, I could probably watch film clips of them, I have to stop on the highway and slow down all of traffic so I can look at this accident. And most of the time, they're not even that interesting. It's not like, some really dramatic accident, It's not like the time, November, when me and my wife flew in for my nephew's bar mitzvah, which was in Muncie. And we were driving in November, and then there was a freak snowstorm, and there was like a 50-car accident on the George Washington Bridge. We sat in traffic for literally 8 hours. We couldn't get anywhere. My brother figured out to take the Tappan Zee Bridge, and he got up to Muncie, and all the roads were closed. So that was kind of disappointing, But, okay, so that's really something to see. 50 cars crashed on the George Washington Bridge. That's very interesting, Watch a bunch of Jews being stuck in a car who did not expect to be stuck in the car for 8 hours and took a lot of drinks along with them. Anyway, so you work that part out for yourself. But, there we are, stuck on the highway, It's like, so why? Because people have to see the fascination. So, Rabbi Shapiro was one year right after Megillas Esther. And he told somebody. He said, I just got a chiddush. Says, Haman wanted to go and ask Achashverosh for permission to wipe out all of the Jewish people. And so he went to make a pour to figure out which was the best month. And he makes the pour, and it comes out to Adar. And when he saw it was Adar, he was happy. And says for Moshe Shapiro, it's Nisan. You're going to ask Achashverosh permission to wipe out the Jews in Adar. That's a whole year from now. A lot of things can happen in a year. Why were you so happy? And he said, it's hard to get people to get on board with genocide. There's something about wiping out men, women, and children that a lot of people are a little queasy with. That's how the Ramban explains what Pharaoh was doing when he told the Mildot that they should kill the baby as they were born, because he was afraid that the people would reject genocide, a general infanticide of killing little children, that it wouldn't go over so well. And Ramesha said, give people enough time and they can get used to anything. Get used to anything. There was a time in America when a gay relationship you could be imprisoned for. At some point, that law was taken away. At some point, the Supreme Court paskined that two men can get married. Today, they're working to penalize religious institutions that will not perform those marriages. Ad kedei kach. How the pendulum is swung. People get used to it. People get used to it. At the beginning, it's hard. And then after a while, it gets easier. Or as the Gemara says, the first time you do an Aveira, it's an Aveira. The second time, it's mutter. And adds Rabbi Yisrael Salanta. And the third time, it's a mitzvah. We get used to stuff. We don't even think about it. I'll tell you a story. When I first came to Eretz Yisrael 31 years ago, 32 years ago, it was about almost 32 years. And I live in a little neighborhood called Har Nof, which at the time was a mixed neighborhood, secular, Mizrahi, and Haredi, and that's why it wasn't built. The infrastructure wasn't built for, a religious neighborhood. A religious neighborhood, they tend to make the apartments larger. They tend to leave more room for schools and for shuls. Anyway, when they dedicated the neighborhood, the first 3 buildings, this guy from Meir Sharim brought in busloads of people from Meir Sharim to the dedication. And everyone asked, what are they doing here? He said, what do you mean? They're the buyers. So most of the secular people dropped out, but some had already bought in, So it was a little bit of a problem. And so, as happens in a mixed neighborhood, the issue about people driving on Shabbos, not driving on Shabbos, very emotional issue. Anyway, I first came, and people were hanging up posters that said to yell Shabbos at the cars that are driving by on Shabbos, obviously not on Tuesday. And I had just come back. I was a certified Kiruv monster. I had just been running NCSY in Long Island for 9 years, and I was firmly dedicated to bringing back every Jewish soul. And I saw these posters, and I said to the guys, what are you doing? This is a very negative thing. It's going to turn people off. He said, this is not teichacha. This is macha. Meaning, there are times when I see you doing something wrong and I try to explain it to you and try to encourage you to do the right thing. But if I see you beating somebody to death, I'm going to scream murderer. Because that's something that I have to fight against. I said, I appreciate that, but what do you think is going to end up happening? People are just going to get angry and there's going to be more problems. And he said to me, and I was in there for maybe a week, he said, you know what your problem is? You don't care about Shabbos. I don't care about Shabbos? I spent almost every Shabbos for the past 9 years at a Shabbaton. In my region, between Sukkot and Pesach, we had anywhere between 1 or 2 or 3 Shabbatonim going on every Shabbos, and I would go to this one, Erev Shabbos, that one Saturday night, this one Sunday morning. I was running around with all these things. I said, you know how many people are Shomer Shabbos because of my efforts, and you want to say I don't care about Shabbos? And he said to me, Chilul Shabbos doesn't bother you. And I had to be honest with myself. No, it did not. No, it did not. Now, I told the story over to somebody else, and they said to me, oh, and you think those guys are sincere? And you think that they... I said, I don't know. I don't really care. But for me, that was an eye-opening experience. It's true. I was living in America. I see Chilul Shabbos all the time. I don't even stop to think about it. No, I did not scream Shabbos at any of the cars. But there were times that I would see a car on Shabbos, and I would say to myself, Shabbos. Because it's so easy to become desensitized to things. Shabbos. Yeah. Anyway, I was there that first year, and then we went back around Shavuos time. And I remember I was with my father-in-law in Queens, and we're walking the shul, and okay, there were cars, it didn't make sense, but I saw a city bus go by. And I did a double take. My father-in-law said, what's the matter? I said, it's Yontif, and there's a bus. And he said to me, welcome back to the real world. You know, I'm spoiled. I'm spoiled. You know what licht benching is? When the siren goes off. When I was in America, I kept waiting for the siren, it never went off. They don't do that there. Yeah. It's the kind of thing where Shabbos becomes so much more of a sensitivity to you that you become more aware of things. And you have a certain heightened awareness of things that you just don't even stop to realize. Now, I ask people, what's the most important thing to you in your life? They'll tell me without hesitating, my children. I said, oh, you spend a lot of time with them? No, I'm busy. What do you mean they're the most important thing in your life? Conceptually they are, but in actual fact, how much time do you actually spend? Where's the sensitivity? Where's the attempt to give somebody your full attention? Stephen Covey in The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People says that one of them is active listening. Okay, what's inactive listening? I'm on the computer looking at my emails while I'm going, yeah, okay. I am listening. I can repeat everything you just said. Okay, that I'm listening, but it's not the same thing as the person feels like you're listening. That's, by the way, for some people, very hard to do if you're not in person. There's certain people who call me on the phone, and I'm not an guy. I've never been that way. You know the people on the phone, they go, my wife? I tell you, I thought it was just me, but I see all the kids do. When she's on the phone, we're getting there, I'm going, what is it? Just nothing, you know. But she's like, what? Oh my goodness. Oh really? Oh yeah. You know, and I was like, what happened? Nothing, it's nothing. She's very animated when a person's speaking on the phone. I'm not, and because I'm concentrating on what the person is saying. So there's certain people who call me up and they start talking. They say, anyway, so I had this situation. Hello? I said, yeah, I'm here. Oh, anyway, so I was talking to my mother because hello? No, I'm here. I'm listening. You know, and they have to keep saying because they don't feel reassured. If you're talking to somebody in person and they're doing that, there's something wrong with the attention that you're giving the person. It's called active listening. And we just take it for granted. We take conversations for granted. We take everything for granted. Yeah. So Pharaoh went through a process of, okay, all the water turned to blood. All right, my magicians can do that. Frogs came. My magicians can do that. Lice suddenly appeared. No, you magicians can't do that. Yeah, but you didn't give any hasra. Something weird happened and you're taking credit for it. Sorry, it doesn't work, you know. And as each one came, he had to harden his heart. Harden his heart. There's a process of becoming inured to life and to things and to just stop caring. I don't care. I don't know. Whatever. Yeah. You know. It says in Yecheskel, remove our heart of stone and give us a heart of flesh. Heart of stone? Yeah. How do you reach a person? How do you reach a person who doesn't care? And that's why the Russia is not the last of the 4 sons. It's the She'eno De'elushal. Yeah. Because a Russia, you can turn him around because he cares. He cares enough to fight. I don't like basketball. I don't like most sports. But, you know, I certainly don't like basketball. Hockey. Somebody told me I was at a fight and a hockey game broke out. You know, hockey doesn't really interest me. You know, football, watching multi-millionaire refrigerator freezers smashing into each other, it doesn't do it for me. You know, I was like, you know, baseball is fun because you have a lot of time to eat because most of the time they're just talking and nothing happens. You know, but you know, but basketball is just it's too many people running and screaming and throwing. I can't. I get a headache. So I don't care for basketball. I wouldn't go down to Madison Square Garden and scream at the people, I hate you! I hate you! If somebody hates you, that means that they care. And the more people fighting against Torah, it shows how much Torah means to them. But apathy? What are you supposed to do with apathy? I asked somebody, what are you going to do about the problem of apathy? He says, I don't care. It's a problem. It's a problem. People don't care. Yeah. So their heart becomes hard. There's one pshat that says that Hashem didn't harden Pharaoh's heart. Hashem gave Pharaoh the opportunity to harden his own heart. And that's the amazing thing at the end of Parshas Va'era. After the Magefa of Barad, Pharaoh says, I'm wrong, you're right, you know, I'm the Rasha, Hashem is the tzaddik, everything is right, you guys can go. And then it says, Pharaoh hardened his own heart. It doesn't say, you know, we all got the first 5, he hardened his own heart. The last 5, Hashem hardened his heart. That's not what it says by Barad. It's number 7. He hardened it himself. Because that's what happens when you get used to something. And you can say something hurtful. You don't even think about it. You do it again. You do it again. You do it again. You know, after a while, you don't even realize it. there's a process of desensitization that takes place. And Geula is related to Tchias HaMesim. We have to come back to life. In Gullus, there's a part of us that's dead. And Geula you have to bring us life. You have to give us the ability to care again. So that's what you see from the Makkos. How Pharaoh bit by bit became more and more dead, how his heart became harder and harder. And to finally be able to celebrate. When my Gemara Brachas, my Daf Yomi, I don't know if I mentioned it. So we had the laws of an onain. Onain is that period of time until the burial. So I remember my father passed away on Shabbos, and the Levaya was going to be Sunday, at 11, whatever. And I set my alarm to go to shul in the morning, like I always do, and the alarm went off, and then I remembered, I'm an onain. I can't daven. I can't put on tefillin. Say Krishma. I don't wash. I don't do mitzvahs. A freaky experience. And then I went into the year of Avelis. And very often when questions would come up, and I would ask Paiskim, it's very strange because a lot of my Avelis goes by Minhagim. And they'd say to me, what do you want to do? And I'd say, I don't want to go to zechus. I don't feel like I want to go to zechus. And it was amazing. It was at the end of that year that I finally felt like I'd like to go to a simcha. So that was an amazing thing. I want to feel again. There's something numbing about being an avel. There's something that's. I had a girl at my house who was living with me. She had lost her father. And she said, I feel like I'm going insane. I feel like I'm losing my mind. I said, that's called being in the year of Avelis. Because the pain does something to you, it numbs you. And you have to bring yourself back to the point. Mol es levavenu. Yeah. Urla, says Rashi, is from the Lashon stuma. It's closed. Our heart is closed. Mol es levavenu. Circumcise our heart so that we can feel again, so that we can care again. There was a process that Pharaoh went through, that Egypt went through. I think it was Martin Luther King who said, if you want to keep a man in the gutter, you better be prepared to stay in the gutter with him. Otherwise he might leave. And Mitzrayim takes somebody special to kill babies. Yeah, takes something. And after a while, the only way he can do it is by becoming numb. He hardened his heart. Even when it says Hashem hardened his heart, he just gave him the opportunity. Because, sometimes we want to be bad, no, it's just too much. Kodesh Baruch Hu has to help us. Help me be cruel. Help me be hard-hearted. So, that's one of the ideas we get from the Esamakos, is that there was a process of losing humanity, losing who you are. And like I said, given enough time, people can get used to anything. We just accept it. That's the way it is. I think it was John F. Kennedy who said, some people look at the way the world is and ask why. I look at the way the world could be and ask why not. There are a lot of problems in the world. We've talked about some of them. We talked about one of them today, Shidduchim. Shas for Shidduchim.org. Yeah. Learn all of Shas on Tu B'Shvat. Yeah. Not all of us have that opportunity. Some of us are going to be breaking our teeth on baksa, dried carob. If it wasn't for Tu B'Shvat, nobody would ever eat that stuff. You understand? And we used to love it when we went to school because then all your baby teeth came out and you could get money for each one. But, there's so many problems, so many issues. We have the ability to solve every problem in the world. We just lack the will. And that's it for this week. If you want to find out more about the show, you can go to my website, RabbiOrlofsky.com. You can add comments. You can see my upcoming event schedule. You can contact me directly. Somebody just wrote me and said, I can't believe that you take out time to answer everybody who writes. I try. I have a long list, there's a backlog. Because the way it works is that someone sends an email, and if it drops out of the little window, and I have to actually scroll down to find it, the odds drop dramatically that I will ever see it again. One time, I sorted my inbox by who it's from as opposed to the date, and I said, oh my gosh, I have to answer all of these emails. So I switched to that. But there's a lot of stuff there that I have to take care of. But anyway, you can contact me. You could go to the RabbiOrlofsky.com/live, and you could be part of the Mesilas Yesharim shiurim that just started. A lot of fun. You could go to the Daf Yomi, which is also fun and meaningful. Mesilas Yesharim is also meaningful, yeah. You can go to RabbiOrlofsky.com/music, where you can get the RabbiOrlofsky.com theme song karaoke version. And also, we're going to be putting up a couple of ringtones that people have sent us in case you want the Rabbi Orlofsky show on your phone. Yeah, and somebody else made one just out of me laughing, which I think would be a great way to answer the phone. Anyway, and if you want to sponsor an episode, you go to RabbiOrlofsky.com/sponsor. And that's it for this week. Happy birthday to myself. Thank you very much. And a birthday anniversary, and a bar mitzvah anniversary. And to all of you Shvatniks out there, yeah, this is a very special month. I was born in Shvat. My father died in Shvat. My mother died in Shvat. And I died in Shvat. But I came back. That's the good news. Yeah. I make a student I died because, after I had my heart attack. So the guy who did the angiogram and the surgeon both said that I was supposed to be dead, but apparently they were wrong. Yeah, in the words of Mark Twain, reports of my death have been highly exaggerated. So, but obviously Shvat is a very special month. If you're a Shvat baby, then you know that this is the month of really special stuff. And we will just conclude with this thought, because really we should be talking about this more. Maybe we'll dedicate a podcast to it. But just as we go into the month of Shvat, I think it's important to share this thought. Tu b'Shvat higia chag la'ilanot. Tu b'Shvat higia chag la'ilanot. Or the way that I learned it when I went to day school in English. Tu b'Shvat is here, the Jewish Arbor Day. I don't even know what the secular Arbor Day is. Tu b'Shvat is here. Happy holiday. That's it for this week. I'm Dovid Orlofsky, and this is the Rabbi Orlofsky Show.
It's the Rabbi Orlofsky Show. Torah and Simcha, ready to go. It's the Rabbi Orlofsky Show. Knowledge and wisdom will help you grow. Lots of fun in every episode, and we don't have to rhyme. No, we don't. It's the Rabbi Orlofsky Show on RabbiOrlofsky.com. Torah, anytime, YouTube and more. It's the Rabbi Orlofsky Show. Torah and Simcha, ready to go. It's the Rabbi Orlofsky Show. Till next time, till we meet again. It's the Rabbi Orlofsky Show. It's the Rabbi Orlofsky Show. It's the Rabbi Orlofsky Show.